History is, as we know it, filled with stories that balance wonder with cruelty. The circus freak shows that rose to prominence were not just about laughter and spectacle, but about turning human difference into display. From the 16th century onward, men and women with unusual bodies or rare conditions were placed under the spotlight, sometimes admired, often ridiculed. While some of these so-called circus freaks got fame and fortune, many were forgotten once the lights dimmed. And in this video, we uncover 15 forgotten circus freaks that actually existed. Number 15. Loret Fulkerson, the last tattooed lady. Back in the good days of the 1930s, tattoos on women still raised eyebrows. Loret Fulkerson, born Loretta Love in 1915, leaned into that curiosity, turning her skin into a living gallery. With 90% of her body covered in ink, she became one of the most heavily tattooed women of her era. She toured with Ringling Brothers, Hubert's Museum, and Hall and Christ, making her way across America's sideshow circuit for decades. Banner illustrations promised spectators a peek at her elaborate designs, which she revealed proudly under the moniker, the Tattooed Lady. Loret wasn't chasing rebellion or trends. Her ink was her profession, her livelihood. Unlike many performers, she stayed in the game until the early 1990s, long after sideshows dwindled and tattooed skin stopped shocking crowds. Often called the last tattooed lady, her career marked the close of an era where body art alone could draw a crowd. She passed in 2007 at 92, remembered as both a living relic and the final queen of the inked stage. Number 14. The Bohemian Twins. Rosa and Josefa Blazek were born in 1878 in Bohemia. These were fused at the lower spine, and for them, life was a hell. From infancy, they were exhibited at fairs, their childhood spent beneath the scrutiny of paying strangers. At 13, physicians in Paris confirmed separation was impossible. They didn't choose fear, they chose performance. They learned instruments, giving violin duets that elevated their act beyond spectacle. By 1893, they traveled to Chicago for the World's Columbian Exposition, achieving recognition across America. In 1910, Rosa gave birth to a boy named Franz. Whether his father existed or was an invention for publicity was never clarified, but the scandal fueled attention. By 1921, the sisters returned to America with Franz for a vaudeville tour, eventually settling within Chicago's Czech community. A year later, influenza struck, and they died within minutes of one another. Their lives ended abruptly, yet the memory of their unity endured as a powerful reminder of their unbreakable bond. Number 13. Rita and Christina Parodi. Rita and Christina Parodi were born in Sassari to Maria Teresa Parodi, who was already a mother of 8 and frustrated. Conjoined at the rib cage, the twins shared a single abdomen but had 4 arms and 2 heads. From early on, it was clear that Christina was strong while Rita was weak. Their parents displayed them throughout Italy before taking them to Paris, where they were promoted as Rita Cristina, l'enfant bicéphale. Authorities prohibited public shows because of their age, but the family continued privately, allowing physicians and journalists to study them. Kept in harsh conditions, Rita contracted acute bronchitis in 1829. She died at 8 months and 20 days, and moments later, Christina followed with a cry, as though her body sensed survival was impossible alone. Doctors performed an immediate autopsy, discovering mirrored organs, a shared liver, and Rita's malformed heart. Their skeletons were placed on display in Paris, and their brief story lived on in medical records and even Balzac's writing. Number 12. Johan Pettersson. Johan lived an ordinary boyhood until age 15, when a sudden growth spurt turned him into one of history's tallest men. He eventually stood 7 feet 8 inches, though he often billed himself as taller. In 1934, he moved to Denmark and began performing across Europe, usually paired with dwarves for visual contrast. During World War II, Johan was stranded in Copenhagen, where he worked in a shipyard until the war ended. By 1948, he arrived in the United States and joined the Ringling Brothers sideshow. At first, he appeared in top hat and tails, later adopting Viking garb and billing himself as the Viking Giant. His career was lucrative, allowing him to save a small fortune. He even appeared in the 1950 film Prehistoric Women. Retiring in the 1960s to Gibsonton, Florida, Johan occasionally reappeared at events, including the Smithsonian in 1973. He died in 1984, his enormous frame undone by something as simple as a fall. Number 11. Angus MacAskill. Angus, remembered as the Nova Scotia Giant, secured his place as one of the strongest men ever recorded. Born in Scotland in 1825, he was raised on Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. Though small as a child, at 15 he underwent an immense growth spurt, reaching 7 feet 9 inches and weighing 425 pounds. His body was remarkable. Hands that spanned 12 inches, a chest measuring 50 inches, and boots 18 inches long. Unlike many giants, he suffered no illness, only staggering strength. He lifted anchors weighing more than 2,000 pounds, hauled loaded carts, and crushed challengers in hand duels. In 1849, P.T. Barnum paired him with Tom Thumb as the tallest and the smallest. Spectators marveled when Thumb stood in his palm or vanished inside his coat. Though he disliked performing, Angus became legendary worldwide. He died in 1863 at just 38, leaving behind the enduring memory of a gentle giant. Number 10. Sophia Schultz. Sophia Schultz promoted herself as a triple curiosity, a dwarf, a bearded lady, and a fat lady. Well, of course, it's impossible. In reality, only the first one applied truthfully. Of short stature, she attempted to cultivate facial hair, producing merely a faint goatee, and she never reached the size of the celebrated fat performers of her day. Nonetheless, she traveled the dime museum circuit during the 1880s, photographed in New York, Boston, and Baltimore. Visitors who paid to see her found more novelty than spectacle, yet Sophia's presence symbolized the public's relentless hunger for the unusual. Later suggestions indicated she may have suffered from hypothyroidism, which could also have influenced her mental development. Little is known of her personal life, though her surname hints at German ancestry. Despite lacking the notoriety of more prominent figures, Sophia's career reflects how even minor performers contributed to the relentless machinery of the freak show age, where difference alone sustained curiosity. Number 9. Angelo Rossito. Angelo was born in 1908 and measured just 2 feet 11 inches in height. Despite this, he forged one of the longest and most distinctive acting careers in Hollywood. Unlike others who leaned on circus notoriety, she carved his path in cinema. Across 6 decades, he appeared in more than 70 films, portraying monsters, henchmen, elves, aliens, and Roman soldiers. Sometimes disguised under elaborate prosthetics, sometimes presenting himself plainly, he became a recognizable figure on screen. Over the years, he used various stage names, including Little Mo, Angelino, and Angelo. His first role came in The Beloved Rogue, alongside John Barrymore. Later, he starred in cult staples such as Spooks Run Wild, The Corpse Vanishes, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, and Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome, where he famously embodied Master. Outside of film, Rossito operated a Los Angeles newsstand for steady income and also appeared on children's programs like H.R. Pufnstoof and Lidsville. By his death in 1991, he was a true cult icon. Number 8. Le Pétoman. Joseph Pujol never imagined his peculiar ability would make him the sensation of Paris. Performing under the name Le Pétoman, he became the world's most celebrated flatulist, a performer who appeared to fart on command. In reality, he could draw air into his rectum and expel it at will, producing astonishing effects. At the Moulin Rouge during the 1890s, he imitated storms, cannon fire, and even melodies on an ocarina attached by tubing. Audiences roared with laughter as he extinguished candles from several feet away. His spectators included royalty, dignitaries, and intellectuals such as Sigmund Freud. After disputes with the Moulin Rouge, he established his own theater, refining the act with comedy and song. During World War I, he retired to Toulon, first running a bakery and later a biscuit factory. He passed away in 1945 at age 88, remembered as one of history's strangest yet most inventive entertainers. Number 7. Rudy Santos, the Octoman. Rudy Santos was born in 1953 in the Philippines, carrying one of the rarest physical conditions ever documented. In the circus circuits of the 1970s and 80s, crowds knew him as Octoman, the man with 4 arms and 3 legs. His condition stemmed from a parasitic twin fused into his body. From it grew an additional leg, 2 arms with shoulders, a second set of nipples, and even an undeveloped head with an ear and a patch of hair. His own leg bent awkwardly at the knee, forcing him to walk with crutches. In 2008, surgeons offered to remove the remnants, but Rudy refused, bound by poverty and an unusual emotional attachment. Fame faded in the late 80s, and he withdrew into a quiet life. In 2023, he died from a stroke, survived by his great-niece, Emma Leftwich. Santos remains the oldest person recorded with this condition. Number 6. Alfredo Codona. Alfredo Codona, born October 7, 1893 in Sonora, Mexico, came from the famed Circus dynasty known as the Flying Codonas. His Italian father managed a trapeze troupe, while his mother, Hortense Buisley, was also a flyer. Alfredo's skill elevated him to legend. He was the first aerialist to master the triple somersault, a feat admired by peers like Art Concello. In 1917, he married trapeze partner Clara Curtin, but they divorced in 1927. He then wed aerial superstar Lillian Leitzel, one of Ringling Brothers' brightest icons. Their passionate bond was as stormy as it was devoted. In 1931, tragedy struck when Lillian fell in Copenhagen and died from her injuries. Alfredo remarried in 1932 to Vera Bruce, another flyer, but after a career-ending shoulder injury, depression, and conflict overwhelmed him. On July 30, 1937, in Long Beach, California, Alfredo shot Vera before taking his own life, ending a dazzling yet tragic career. Number 5. The Human Fountain. Haji Ali would step onto the stage, gulp down gallons of water, and moments later, fire it back up in sharp, controlled bursts, his stomach acting like a human-powered pump. Born in Egypt, he rose to international fame with a performance equal parts mesmerizing and unsettling. His signature act? Swallowing kerosene, breathing fire across the crowd, then extinguishing the blaze with geysers of water launched on command. He once downed live goldfish and returned them moments later, alive, swimming in a bowl. No illusions, no hidden tubes, just sheer control over his body's inner mechanics. Audiences gasped, scientists were left speechless, and skeptics had nothing to challenge. Haji wasn't selling magic. He was exposing physiology with raw precision. His performance flirted with discomfort, but it never felt cruel. It felt like mastery. Even now, no one's come close to replicating his routine. The Human Fountain didn't bend spoons or saw boxes. He made biology a spectacle, and nobody's forgotten what he could do. Number 4. Storstina. Christina Katharina Larsdottir, known as Storstina, was born in Brennus on January 19, 1819. By age 18, she measured nearly 2 meters tall and was soon displayed across Sweden as the giant girl from Lapland. In March 1837, she arrived in Stockholm, drawing massive crowds and even meeting King Carl XIV Johan. Doctors at the Karolinska Institute examined her, confirming she was female despite persistent rumors. She kept traveling through Denmark, Germany, France, and England, billed as the Lapland giantess, tallest woman in the world. Storstina was intelligent and independent, fluent in several languages, well-read, and often managed her own business dealings. Returning home, she paid off her parents' debts and secured land for herself. Her final years brought illness, and in 1854, at just 35, she died of gangrene contracted during a snowstorm. Soon after, her body was exhumed and studied at the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm. In the world of the circus, even if you're dead, you're a show. Number 3. Sam Alexander. Sam was not born with any unusual condition. His life changed in his 20s when, by most reports, he lit a match near gasoline and suffered catastrophic burns to his face. Doctors attempted multiple surgeries, but full reconstruction was projected to take more than 15 years. The accident left him isolated until surgeons created a lifelike prosthetic mask. With it, Sam re-emerged, transforming tragedy into performance. He joined Ringling Brothers, Barnum, and the Clyde Beatty Circus, sharing his story before removing the mask on stage. Audiences were stunned, but his bravery defined him. Later, he formed his own sideshow troupe, offering others opportunities in the industry. Even after additional surgeries, he continued wearing the mask until retiring. In 1997, he died of natural causes, remembered for both resilience and the way he turned devastating injury into a career that inspired countless others to confront hardship with dignity. Number 2. Clémentine Delay. Clémentine became one of France's most iconic bearded women. Growing up in Lorraine near the German-Swiss border, she was noticeably hirsute from adolescence, though at first she kept it hidden. In 1885, at age 20, she married a local baker, and together they ran a cafe. When a traveling carnival passed through town in 1900 featuring a bearded lady, Clémentine confidently claimed she could grow a finer one, and she proved it. Soon after, the couple rebranded their business as Le Café de la Femme à Barbe, the Café of the Bearded Woman, even selling postcards of Clémentine serving behind the counter. Fame carried her to museums, cabarets, and circuses across Europe, though she famously declined an American tour. In 1934, she published her memoirs, solidifying her reputation. By embracing what others called a flaw, she turned it into identity, business, and spectacle. Clémentine Delay may not have matched Ann Jones in fame, but she carved a legacy uniquely her own. All right, guys, now, let's end this with Number 1. The Human Unicorn. One photo made him a legend. A Chinese villager named Wang stood still as the camera captured a twisted keratin horn erupting from his scalp, a real spiraled growth nearly 14 inches long. The world dubbed him the Human Unicorn. Doctors later identified it as a cutaneous horn, but that explanation didn't stop newspapers in Europe and America from turning him into folklore. His image appeared everywhere, illustrated, exaggerated, mythologized. Some portraits showed him as a simple peasant in robes. Others dressed him in feathers or ceremonial garb, spinning his existence into spectacle. Wang didn't give interviews. He didn't tour the circuit. He never joined the big shows. But the single image of that horn, raw and surreal, traveled far. While other performers leaned into their stories, Wang simply stood and became one. Medical anomaly or living myth, it didn't matter. His face was burned into memory. He didn't have to say anything. He looked like something the world wasn't ready to see. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.